Hi, I'm Craig Jelic. Today I'm going to be taking you through the new features in our 0.13 release of Obot. You can see here on our release notes on GitHub, the biggest feature is Composite MCP servers along with fine-grained tool access. This lets admins create servers that bring together other servers and even select specific tools from each server to put them together into a single unified server to expose to their users. We also have audit log exporting to S3 compatible backends. We have the ability for server scheduling and resource control when you're using Kubernetes as your engine. So this allows you to decide and control exactly how MCP servers should be deployed within your Kubernetes cluster. We've introduced update notifications. So right in the app, you can know when a new version of Obot is available. And finally, we improved the initial Auth provider setup to make Obot a bit easier to set up for the first time. That's actually where we're going to start. I'm going to show a fresh installation here and walk through the new Auth provider setup. You can see here when you come in, immediately we let you know that you need to set up an authentication provider. So we click Get Started here, and you're dropped right into the Auth page where we can configure Auth. And I will just go ahead and copy these things in. And we will confirm. Now, before you had to log in and out a couple different times to hook up your GitHub user to this setup. But now it just works seamlessly, where without any additional logout, I'm taken to GitHub and it's saying, yes, do you want to make this user an account owner? Sure, confirm and log out. And now you can see I'm logged in as my GitHub user. So no more juggling of additional steps to get set up for the first time. Okay, now we're actually going to work our way up. There's not much to show for update notifications, but I'll show quickly server scheduling and resource control. So if we come here and come to server scheduling, this new menu item server scheduling is where you can see this. Here you see it's very Kubernetes specific. So you can define the affinity pods should have to help guide where they should be deployed, what nodes they should be deployed to. Similarly, tolerations, this is a Kubernetes concept, and we link you to the relevant Kubernetes concepts here. And then finally, you can set the CPU and memory requests and limits, and this helps with controlling the amount of resources each MCP server is going to use. Now you can either set these via Helm when you deploy Obot, which you can see here. If you do set these fields via Helm, then they'll be locked down and you can't edit them here. Or you can set them in the UI. So if you don't want to manage them through Helm and your GitOps flow for deploying Obot, you can come right in and just set these fields here. All right, next, audit log exports. We can jump over and take a look at audit logs here. Now this is a brand new installation, so you're not going to see any audit logs. But what we have here are two new buttons, one for creating an export and one for managing exports. Let's create a one-time export. So what it'll first ask me here is, do I want to basically include the filters that were applied to the audit log screen we were looking at? So I'll say yes, apply. First thing it's going to do is ask me to configure my storage provider. In other words, where these audit logs are going to be exported to. You can see we have support for Amazon S3, Google Cloud Storage, Azure Blob Storage, and those three just are kind of specifically tailored to those clouds, but also generically, you can provide an S3 compatible endpoint along with access key and secret. I'm not going to create a export now, but once you do, basically that process will happen. You can schedule export to happen on an interval, and then you would see these sort of exports. You could manage them from here as well. Okay, the big feature is composite MCP servers. So let's take a look at that one. If I come to MCP servers here and I click Add Server, you'll see a new composite server option here. And if I jump into this, just like defining any other server, you define the name and description, Craig's demo server details here. And the big new thing here is basically building out this composite server from different component servers. So let's go ahead and just pick a few. First, we'll start with AMP charts. Then this is asking me if I want to configure specific tools for it. I do. So this is now launching an instance of this MCP server so that it can call the list tools endpoint, get those tools, and then let me decide which ones I want to include into the component server. I believe this is pulling the image for the first time, so it'll take just a quick minute here. Okay, so you can see it loaded up all of the tools exposed in this chart, and instead of exposing all of them, I'm just going to pick a couple here. So this particular MCP server, it lets you generate different charts based off of data sets, and just for the sake of this example, we'll just pick the first two. Next, let's pick a different type of server. Let's pick Gmail, for example. This is a remote server. So this time when I click Configure Tools, it's going to go out and authenticate me so that I can pull back the tools. Let's authenticate, and we'll do that. All right, once again, we see all the tools, and rather than have all of them, I will just do list emails. You can also override the name of the tool or the description. And this is just an easy way to kind of control exactly what your users see. So we'll click confirm on that. And finally, we'll click save. So now if we go to my connectors and launch this demo server here, and we connect to it, now we'll see it's asking me, do I want AMP chart enabled? I do. And of course I want Gmail enabled too. And we can start chatting with the server. So let's open that up in chat. And once again, now since I'm hitting this as an end user, I need to authenticate. And this screen will walk you through any of these composite MCP servers that need authentication. Again, we'll hit this. All right, if we jump over here, we can see the tool list, and you can see we only get the tools that were configured specifically. And that does it for sort of the basics of composite servers. Now, the things you can do with this, if you want to have different versions of MCP server where you want to expose subset of tools to different groups, like perhaps your marketing group sees one subset, whereas your developers see all tools, you can build a composite server for that and then use our access control rules to grant groups different access to the different versions of the server. As well as, like I mentioned, you can bring multiple servers together into a single composite. Okay, that does it for the major features in this release. Please give it a try and let us know what you think.